Suvodayam, welcome all to this course of 7th batch of certificate course on Sanatan Dharma organized by Veda Samskruti Samiti in association with Visva Yoga Vidyapith. Today we'll be having a very exciting class to understand ancient science and technology through as applied to Vimana Shastra. Through Vimana Shastra, Dr. CSR Prabhu Garu is going to explain you how advanced the ancient science and technology was. So, have your notebooks with you to understand what has happened and how it was developed. And he'll show you something very, very practical and exciting. So, we start the class with Vande Matram by Venkatnarayan Garu.
वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् सुजलां सुफलां मलयज शीतलां सस्यश्यामलां मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनीं फुल्लकुसुमितद्रुमदलशोभिनीं सुहासिनीं सुमधुरभाषिणीं सुखदां वरदां मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम्.
Vande Mataram. Thank you, Venkatnarayan Garu. Now I request Padmaji Garu to do the Prarthana, please.
1 minute meditation followed by 3 times Omkar. Om. 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 Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anah Srunvannoti Bissida Sadanam Om Sri Mahaganadipataye Namaha Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinama Vitriyavatu Om Sri Maha Saraswatyai Namaha Gururev Gati Gurumev Bhaje Gurunaiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave Na Guroho Paramam Sisurasmi Guroho मतिरस्ति गुरो मां पाहि गुरो ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ
Hari Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Thank you, Padmaji Garu, for the nice prarthana. And now I request Prabhu Garu to start the webinar, please.
Okay, friends, today we'll be delving into what is called Vimana Shastra, and I'll explain my life encounters to this text. Before I do that, there are two fundamental questions which are required to be answered. First question is whether all science and technology originated in the West, in England or nearby England, around 150 years ago. And before that happened, there was no science or technology anywhere in the world. This is the strand which we find in our narrative, in our textbooks. All our textbooks and our assumptions or our background perception indicates this stand that all science originated, science and engineering and technology and all applications of science and technology in England or nearby England, in Europe, the Anglo-centric and the Eurocentric view of the history of science. The second question that is related is whether all the descriptions given in the Mahabharata or Ramayana, like Pushpak Vimana or the Brahmastra or other advanced high technological descriptions, the war itself, Mahabharata war itself, whether all of them are fake or real. Of course, the answer depends upon the person. A person who belongs to the opposite camp will say that all they are fake. And whereas people belonging to this side of the camp, they will say they are real. And either position does not have any evidence. So these two questions are very fundamental and they are not answered by anybody. And I try to answer them in my own life of short period since my student days. I'll explain you what happened in my own life in my student days. So when I was a student of engineering in JNTU in 71 to 76, I ran into a book called Vimana Sastra by accident. And this is the book which I ran into, which I have bound and kept here. It is a very old book. It is published in 1959 by Arya Prasidhi Sabha in Hindi. Hindi translation of so-called Viman Shastra. So I studied it in my own personal interest, and I found it contained a number of materials, alloys, glasses, preparations, procedures, formulas, and also the procedure to make various parts of a Vimana using those materials, those alloys or glasses or ceramics and so on. So I have been looking at them, and also it explains various machines, machine design, and around 31 major machines. And it also contains a description of 4 types of Vimanas, how to assemble them with these machines, which are described there. So I located this in somewhere in early 70s. And in early 70s, when I was a student of engineering, electronics at JNTU Hyderabad, I used to sit with my classmates and juniors, and one of them is very accomplished person, Mr. Yoganandam, and try to decipher something out of this and reproduce if possible. Because reproduction was not on the cards, it was only decipherment and drawing. So out of these 31 machines, there were 13 which are electrical. Vidyut yantra, Vidyut Utpadak yantra, Vidyut Dvadashaka yantra, and so on. So I had deciphered them on paper uh, because by then I already knew Sanskrit, not only language but also grammar of Padini. I studied Saralatama Vidhi in my 9th class period, not in the school premises, but outside the curriculum. So after that decipherment jointly by drawing diagrams and interpreting those 13 electrical machines, like Vidyut Yantra was something like a DC motor, and Vidyut Utpadaka Yantra was like a battery. Vidyut Dvadashaka Yantra is like a high voltage neutralizer of cloud and lightning. So some of them are too fantastic to be believed. Some of them are recognizable, like DC motor, we know. Vidyut Dvadashaka Yantra, we don't know still today. So finally, this whole exercise of deciphering stopped when I shifted to IIT Bombay in 76. So in IIT Bombay, it was very curious to notice that in the chemical engineering department, one Anil Bhuskute used to be there, and he was a lecturer. he was collaborating with one Naren Sheth of Bombay City, who deciphered some material in detail that is called Chumbakamani, and they produced Chumbakamani. It's a small black material, and they tested it and confirmed it as a soft ferrite and also semiconductor. So the confirmation was repeated by TIFR and also by a project instituted by CSIR called Chumbakmani Project. So one professor, Maheshwar Sharan, was a chemistry professor who was given funding to repeat the production and confirm the Chumbakmani. So Chumbakmani was produced and confirmed, reproduced independently. And his wife Madhuri Sharan is still alive. So the Chumbakmani was an enigma because we all know that the semiconductors were invented in 1954 period in germanium first and then silicon. This is a mixture. It is not a single element, but it demonstrated semiconductor properties and it was confirmed as soft ferrite material. So I was only a witness to all these things because I was just a student. And Naren Sheth is a travel agent in Bombay. He learned yoga from me. I used to teach yoga to everybody in IIT Bombay. And that's where it stood for a long time till I went to US in 81 uh, through some other project. And I was in MIT, Boston. So I told them about such a thing, such a book. And they were saying there were a lot of Asians. Asia means Indian, Pakistani, Bangladesh, China, all are Asians. So they were finding some kind of a commonality between this book and themselves as Asians. So they took a stand that if this book is valid, even if 100 part, then it demonstrates that science originated in the East and not in the West. That was a very important point, stand, narrative that was very critical to history of science. So they said, you give me that book, and like that they were asking, but I didn't have that book. It was in India. Then I shifted to California, UCI, University of California at Irvine, for some other work. I was posted there in a software project for 1 year. I was teaching yoga classes in Los Angeles area. I lived in Santa Ana and I worked in Irvine and I was teaching yoga in Mission Viejo. So during that time, they asked me to bring this book and they want to repeat the experiments, but the book was not available. It is somewhere in India. So finally, I came back to India for good in 1984 after spending 1 year in Los Angeles area. In 84, I got married and then I was in Pune and then I came back to Hyderabad. I joined NIC, National Informatics Center, Government of India in Hyderabad in 86. So at that time, Dr. B.G. Siddharth, who is the director of Birla Planetarium, he came to my office and we had a lot of discussions. And he was asking me if there is any literary evidence of a lens or glass being used in ancient times. Because he found there are descriptions of phases of Mercury and Venus very similar to the phases of Moon. So I told him this Vimana Shastra is there. It contains 46 types of glasses, preparation formulas. And definitely they were able to make lenses. And therefore, he concluded they must have built a telescope. Therefore, they could see the phases of Mercury and Venus planets, which cannot be seen with naked eye. Then he asked me to give that book to him. I located that book in my house with the old books and old papers about to be sold away by my wife. Just on the last minute of being sold away, I located that old book and saved it. And so Dr. B.G. Siddharth asked me to give. I said, I will not give unless you do something concrete. He said, all right, we'll conduct a seminar, national seminar on ancient Indian science and technology in 1990. So at Birla Planetarium on December 4th, 1990, this ancient Indian science and technology seminar was conducted. And I invited the IIT Bombay team to come and demonstrate the Chumbak Mani. So Naren Sheth came with Chumbak Mani submerged in Paragrandhika Drava and connected with Panchadhara Loha leads. And when exposed to sunlight on December 4th, 1990, it is a pretty cold day, it produced electric current that showed that it had photovoltaic effects. So this was noted by the press those days. There were no internet. No. The Hindu newspaper wrote an article, did ancient Indians know computers, semiconductors? Like this, they asked. An article was written. And next day, we had phone calls coming from Russia as well as America. There was no email those days. It was just coming up. And they wanted the details of this Chumbak Mani. And everybody wanted to get something out of us, but there was one person who told us he saw the original manuscript of the Vimana Shastra, which contained these descriptions. What I showed you just now was the printed book, but he said he saw the original handwritten manuscript in old paper. So he said he has seen in Bangalore and he has the address of that place. So we formed a committee and went to Bangalore to Xerox whatever manuscripts are available. So in the house of one B. Srinivas Murthy in Sheshadripuram, who is supposed to be the grandson of one Subbaraya Shastri, who is supposed to have dictated this Viman Shastra to a scribe known as Venkatachala Sharma, and the number of notebook size paper books in their house. They said you can Xerox them here itself. So we put a Xerox machine there and we Xeroxed a couple of thousands of pages of various texts pertaining particularly to Vimana Shastra and also other texts like Kritaka Vajra Nirnaya and Aptattva Upanyasa and Andhika Nrsimha Parijata. And we came back with those Xerox copies, leaving the originals with them. But in between, I located one receipt which says that 92 manuscripts were taken by one GR Josier of Mysore. So we went to Mysore in search of that man. We went to his house. He's no more, but his son was there. And his son said, "We have only this print." They printed that book called Vimana Sastra in 1977. And here it is, this English, if they wrote the translation in English, however bad or good it is, G.R. Josier, historian, essayist, Sanskritist. And beyond that, he doesn't have any manuscripts which are mentioned in the receipt. So he said, I gave to somebody, so and so person. So I went and located that person. That person says, no, I gave to another person. So like this, I met a number of people in Bangalore. One Jitabindu Maharshi in Jayanagar also. And one person from film field also. And everybody says they gave to somebody else. So none of those 92 manuscripts, which included the mathematics by Valmiki, as it is called, were listed there, but they are not traceable. Finally, I came back and I once again went to meet one Subramanya Shastri of Shimoga, who came to Bangalore to meet me, and he gave me one notebook comprising of Ramshubodhini Shastra text, which was printed later. So we said, okay, let us go back with whatever we could capture. And we came back to Hyderabad and we conducted a press conference. We means Dr. Siddharth, who is the director of Birla Planetarium, and myself, I was the principal systems analyst at NIC, which is right opposite to Birla Mandir. And one Professor M.C. Ganorkar, who was a chemistry professor, HOD of Usman University, who was the director of one Birla Institute of Scientific Research established by Birlas in Dilsukh Nagar area, Asmangarh Palace. They had a lab and they had PhD candidates. So we told the press that we will be deciphering some of the materials and we'll be reproducing some of the materials. Initially, we wanted to do jointly with the IIT Bombay team. But when we asked them to join us for this project, they said, that particularly in this Naren Sheth, who is a private party, is not a staff of IIT. He said, unless there is a written document saying that all the patent rights will be owned by him, he will not come and cooperate. And that was not acceptable to Birlas because they are also businessmen. They said, no, we will not give anything. If you want to come, you come, others get lost. So finally, we landed in a situation where Naren Sheth retracted back, and we ended up in a quandary situation of having declared to the press that we will be deciphering something in Prabhu's. So that was the juncture in which I had to enter into the shoes of Naren Sheth to decipher the text wherever I can and however I can and reproduce something as promised to the press. Because neither Dr. Siddharth nor M.C. Ganorkar had adequate knowledge of Sanskrit to decipher. So I ended up deciphering around half a dozen materials and reproduce them in the lab of the Birlas. I'll show you those materials now. The first one was what is called the Tamogarbha Loha. Because that was the smallest ingredients, number of ingredients. Only 3 ingredients were there that was used in Tamo Yantra. Krishna Sisam Chanjanikam Vajratundam Samamshataha. There are three ingredients. I deciphered them and produced the Tamogar Paloha 1 centimeter square is this item. And this was tested in the physics lab of Usmania University. And we found that it has absorbed a laser beam up to 79%. Of course, this is a bigger piece which I produced recently in Jain University in Bangalore. This is another piece, all of the same material. And recently I gave a big piece to Electronics and Communication Department of Usmania University. So Tamo Garbha, it confirmed that it absorbed a laser beam and it could absorb other radiation also. Then second, we produced this brass-looking item, which is called Panchaloha. Though Panchaloha means 5 lohas. There are no 5 in it, only 3 are there, copper, zinc and lead. And in spite of that, it demonstrated very interesting properties of anti-corrosion. And recently we reproduced it in a big size in Jain University in Bangalore. So this has been confirmed to have less loss of weight, less corrosion, 1,000 times less than the other copper alloys, which are in 36 in number in mechanical ASM, American Society of Mechanical Metals handbook. So then I reproduced one Vakra Prasarana Yantra Arara Tamram. So this is 2 outputs and 1 input. You can see when I move the input in circular motion, one is moving circularly and other is moving clockwise and other anti-clockwise, 2 opposite movements. So there are 16 gear wheels inside it. So this was meant for act as a gearbox with 16 gear wheels. There are no such gearbox in modern times. We have maximum 8 gear wheels in tractor. So these are the various materials which I could reproduce with the help of the Birla's laboratory and professor of research and also the candidates, PhD candidates. So I just washed my hands because lead is poisonous. So these materials and results, and I also produced some glasses and ceramics, which all turned out to be novel. They don't exist in the modern science. So Chumbak Mani on one side, and these software and materials I produced on the other side. They demonstrate, and also the machine, Dr. Prasad, in a laboratory and also in the factory of MT Industries here. One Satyareddy is there, who is my disciple in yoga also. So this data, this evidence, proved beyond doubt that the Vimana Shastra is not a fake text. At least those parts which we could reproduce. So, and somebody else also reproduced Chumbak Mani. And therefore we can say that the contents of Vimana Shastra are not fake. Then I hit a roadblock on the temperature of the furnaces. Some of the materials required 2500 degrees temperature, which did not exist anywhere in India. Somebody in BHL Ceramic Technology Institute was willing to support. So we hit a roadblock and I diverted into non-metal, that is biological products. And I produced one Agni Stambhana, which is there downstairs. It is a herbal spray. If you spray on any object like cloth or paper, it will not burn in flame. It will not catch fire. Similarly, I produce anaharam, it's a laddu. If you eat that, you don't require food for that half a day, 4 hours. Some of these things are not from Vimana Shastra, they are from Tantra Shastra, but I could reproduce them also. So that showed there was an independent science and technology in India before Mahabharata period. Because all these are very old books. And it shows the evidence that there was high technology. So I wrote a report called High Technology in Ancient Sanskrit Manuscripts, which I will share with you in the group. Until today, this has created a very big halchal or questions, unanswered questions. How is it possible? So till today, it remains an enigma. There are many other texts which are lighter in science and technology, like we have Vastu Shastra books by Maya and Vishwakarma, and we have the Jyotish Shastra books, observation of Jupiter, Mars, the recordings of the planetary movements recorded. Then, of course, we have the temple architectures. Then we have the Panchaloha idols, the real Panchaloha, not like this, only three. The other two are costly, silver and gold. So the conclusion I drew was that there was a high technology in India in Sanskrit, but it is lost. And what we have today in terms of Ayurveda, in terms of temple construction, in terms of idol casting, is a lower technology version. We lost the Vimanas, Astras, and other advanced things due to Kali Yuga and various other factors. So this is what I wanted to share with you in terms of Vimana Shastra. Now I'll open for discussion.
Thank you, Prabhu Garu. Now the forum is open for questions. Prabhu Garu, earlier you talked about the Vimana Shastra or the experiments done by Subbaraya Shastri Garu in Juhu Beach and all. Can you just...
Yeah, it's not Juhu Beach, it is Chowpatty Beach.
Chowpatty Beach, yeah.
The same Subbaraya Shastri who dictated these books, which I recorded and brought from Bangalore, he guided one Talpude, one medical person from Pune, and they made one Marut Sakha aircraft, which flew on Chowpatty Beach before the Wright brothers could invent. And this is recorded in Times of India. I've seen the report at the time. It is preserved by somebody. And that aircraft was confiscated by British and kept in the archives in Delhi. And it is all hushed up. So that is about that.
Okay. Rama Sharma garu.
Sir, Pranam, sir. I am Ram Sharma, mechanical engineer and a cost accountant. And I'm really impressed. I worked in foundry department, sir, where we cast metals and all these things. Very much thrilled to know the greatness of this thing. And the participants today, we are very, very lucky to from the horse's mouth who has faced all this in the last 30, 40 years and a visionary is sitting before us. We could get 1% or 0.1% of what your knowledge you have, and all these things will go in a long way. May God give all the health and all the courage for all the for Indians to get further into the subject, and let us hopefully that somebody else because having knowledge of Sanskrit, knowledge of subject, knowledge of the course or the item what is being made. These all these panchalohas are very very difficult. I know being a metallurgical experience and they at different temperatures they melt. They mixing them is not that much easy and since I know I am from that background, I can definitely see with lot of what are the pains you have taken for producing those things. Hats up to you, sir. Our sincere pranams to your this thing. We wish you further do whatever is can be done. This is a great day in my life. I can say that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shall we close?
Sir, if I may ask one more,
Yeah.
if this whole great knowledge can be condensed into a very small elementary chapter to be introduced in engineering colleges across India as a part of the new education policy, so that what could happen is because this is at the level of our towards the fag end of our career, we come to know about it and we realize that this great knowledge is lost because it is not in the realm of common students. So if just a chapter like this could be introduced into colleges, maybe it will also propagate and create a lot of research interest in people to track this background as well as to do work in this area. In one of the last lectures, you also talked about making gold out of certain um, leaves and other things. Um,
Gold is now a lost technology. They were making. Nagarjuna himself made gold, large scale, and he established Buddhism in Sri Lanka with that expenditure from that gold. But now it is lost. It's not possible. And I wrote a report on this, which I'll share in the group. I was very careful because I didn't want to provoke any controversies. So there are a lot of people who want to uh, create controversy coming from leftist background and all that, because they want to say that all this is utter nonsense. So in my report, I was so careful that nobody can find any fault with it, and we had many incidents like in people who talk about this Vimana Shastra without adequate background, without adequate evidence, they will be attacked by, they will be poo-pooed and ridiculed by the leftists and others. There was an Indian Science Congress in 2014-15, and at that time in Bombay. So one person, Bodas, he is Captain Bodas. He is an Air Force retired pilot from Pune. I was very famous in this context in Pune. I used to go and so this man went and made a presentation in the Indian Science Congress about some advanced warfare described in this book without any evidence of experimentation.
Yes.
So immediately he was being attacked, even possibly physically he could have been attacked. And so the BJP government was in deep trouble. So they don't know what to do. So what they did was in next year, 2015-16, they conducted one more conference of Bharatiya Vijnan Sammelan at Goa. Manohar Parrikar was the defense minister. And one Vinay Sahasrabudhe was the Vijnan Bharati head. And they invited me with a air ticket and arrangements. And there I presented all these materials and I answered the questions in the press. I told that this is the evidence we have. We cannot say anything more than this. So then finally, the matter was brought in control.
Mm.
The defense research controller of defense research was also. I met him in Delhi and wanted to have a plan to make something new. One, we also tried to reproduce one Rukma Vimana model, but we had certain issues and we didn't complete it. So what happens is that people can always say, you have brought in modern concepts into the ancient. So we didn't want that to come to that stage. So only strictly going by the text, whatever is possible, we could do. And more can be done, but a lot of efforts are required and people are required.
Mm.
Okay, any other question? Okay, I think there are no more
So,
questions.
regarding the Pushpak Vimana, the Ramayana is describing Pushpak Vimana, but Ramayana is not a technical text. So it will not give you the technical details. In the same Vimana Shastra, Pushpak Vimana is mentioned as one of the Treta Yuga Vimanas. And a big list of other Vimanas also is given. But no descriptions are given. Only 4 modern Vimanas, Rukma Vimana, Shakra Vimana, Sundara Vimana, and Tripura Vimana have been described. Tripura Vimana is an amphibious hyperplane. So I met Abdul Kalam in that context. He asked me to bring the design. I made part of the design, but I could not complete. There's a serious problem of completing up to the level of reproduction.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to decipher the text. Most of it is not available, only some part is available. And words are also not decipherable. They're archaic words, depending on the age of that particular text being quoted, because Vimana Shastra is not a single text. It is a quotation of many texts. I'll share you the report. Okay, let us close.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu Garu, for the nice lecture. And yeah, in spite of his bad health, as you can see, he has come and delivered this very important lecture, which is very close to his heart, and he has really struggled to work on this. As you can see, it requires not only knowledge of Sanskrit and engineering, and the most important thing is perseverance and trying to meet anyone across the places where some information can be obtained to get through this. In fact, today he was not in a good health, so he made it very short. I think Dr. Sujit and others who have attended earlier classes have listened more of the Vimana Shastra, the experiments, and also the short stories in between, what he had, how he had to struggle with this metallurgy. All this were told. And it requires, yes, as Dr. Sujit said, this knowledge has to be passed on to the next generations, and maybe someone will take it up. We don't know, but we have to keep uh, spreading this word of Vimana Shastra. For those of you who have come to Delhi and seen Akshardham, there is one particular segment called the boat ride. So as you get in the boat ride, there's a clay model presentation of different aspects of ancient sciences and culture, out of which, as you enter the place on the right, you can, the first model is of Vimana Shastra, and Bharadwaj Maharshi with his Vimana Shastra and Vimanas, clay models, are put over there. And in recent times, some YouTube uh, videos are there on Vimana Shastra. I don't know the authentication of it, but then definitely they speak a lot of about Vimana, ancient Pushpaka Vimana. And it's not just one type, there are many types. And in this Pushpaka Vimana, the most important things is that the energy to, what you say, push the aircraft, the fuel is totally environment friendly. It doesn't use any of this so-called aviation fuel or diesel or petrol or something like that. It is used within the yantra that he has shown. Could be some of that which that generates a lot of heat to push the Vimana. So there are so many aspects of it, and if somebody is interested, they can meet him, talk to him, and take it forward. Because as he has already said that there is a lot of things to be done, and he has made the ground that yes, it is a reality. It is not a fictional one. Now, from this class, those of you who are new can take this takeaway from this class is that the ancient science and technology was much, much beyond. Way back in the Ramayana times or even before. Because in Ramayana times, Pushpaka Vimana, we have seen, that's the first time we have seen that Pushpaka Vimana has been used. So Vimana was there prior to that. So you can understand the technology which was there much before the modern times, modern science has come into, or the Western science which has come into existence. So it's all up to you to take it forward from this and tell children that it is not only the Western science. We have much, much advanced ancient science and technology. Okay. Now, with this, I stop here. And then what we do is if you have any other question, we can ask. Otherwise, I'll tell very briefly about the examination for tomorrow. So it's open to you to ask questions If you have no questions, then I'll very briefly tell about tomorrow's exam. Tomorrow's exam will be based on the topics up to the Vedic mathematics and the Sanskrit language which has been taught up to last Friday. So all that which has been taught over this 1.5 months will be in the exam. The moment it is said there is an exam, there is an inherent fear of exam. It has to be there. Enjoy it. Don't get into the fear in the real sense. The fear is only that I have to prepare for the exam because there's an exam. And the next part of the exam is the marks. So my submission to all of you is that please don't take these marks in the same sense as you have taken since childhood or since you are seeing them in your children. These marks are of a different value to you in person because these marks are not going to fetch you any job. These marks are not going to be published anywhere or entered into any records. But for us to have a record, that's all. It comes automatically to us. So this is a test of your own knowledge and what you wanted to know and how much you have known and how much you should be trying to know more. And clear some of the confusions because as you go through the exam, Dr. Babu, Kalan Babu, he spends a lot of time in designing the question paper in such a way that you will know the knowledge that you have acquired in this class and the clarity on which you have acquired. Because every time, whenever you learn something, there are questions, there are doubts, there are confusions, whether this is correct or that is correct. And at times, many times, we see that TKR will go forward and forget about filling the gap of that confusion or clarifying that confusion. So this exam is going to bring such confusions to you so that you will put efforts to get clarified on those confusions. If you are not confused, you are straight, then you have understood the concept. So there's no problem at all. If you have a confusion, whether this is correct or that is correct, then there is a shortage of clarity on that particular aspect. So you have to work on that. So it is going to be a multiple choice question paper. And you should be having one email address which you can access, because the moment you complete your exam, the moment you say submit, the answers are known, the evaluation is immediately done, and the score will come to your email address immediately. Even before we see it, you can see it. So you have to access that email address. So have that email address with you, which you are going to be filling in the form tomorrow. Just like you write your name and your PIN number, you have to write the PIN email address also. So have your email address ready with you, and you should be in a position to access it. It's not that you give your son's email address and you cannot access it. No, you should be accessing it. Then only you will know whether you have submitted or not. So this email address is very important. Then there is one last
Sir,
part.
email or Gmail, sir?
Email is email, whether it is a Gmail or a Yahoo mail or any other mail, which you can access,
Okay,
right?
okay, sir.
Then the last part of the exam, after you complete all the questions, and all the questions are to be completed. You cannot say that I will not answer few of the questions. No. In that case, your question paper will not be, your answer sheet will not be accepted, or you cannot submit the paper. So you have to answer all the questions. At the end of the question paper, you have a image identification, which is not part of the exam. It is part of, we are setting this paper based on Google Sheets, which is an application by Google. We are using it. So they have their own purpose of putting this identification of images. So you have to identify those images as prescribed. So it's not a difficult thing. I mean, you have to just say yes, this, that. I mean, you have to click, that's all. It's not anything mind spending. Yes, you have to understand that and to just do it. So unless until you do it, the paper will not get submitted. So it will take one attempt or two attempts, that is 1 minute or 2 minutes. That's all, nothing more. So you should keep that time in mind or in your estimations. Answer your questions as fast as possible. And then there is one more important aspect of the exam is that when you go for the first question and answer, say you have answered C as number of questions and time, that will be explained tomorrow, because let me keep some things for tomorrow. Okay. There is say you have thought C is the correct answer. Okay, you click C and then you go scroll, because scrolling is you push the button, whether you drag it or do whatnot. When you do it and go to the second question and answer your second question, then you go back and see the first question, that you will see that your question which you answered as C is not appearing as C, it is appearing as D or A or B. So this is where your answer has to be locked. That is, even if you scroll, it should not move. So that what happens is, once you click your answer C, then you click outside that screen and then you see that it is locked. You tap it, it will get locked. Once you do this is a practice exam. It's very difficult for me to explain everything, but this is an important thing. This happens, and there's a solution to that, for that also, that you have to lock it. So how this locking happens is that you have to click and wait and see that even if you drag, it is not moving, just check there itself, and then move to the next question and do the same exercise. So you have to be careful in doing this, answering and locking it. So many times what happens is that a person gets, say, almost 58 questions correct out of 60. But then he says that I did everything correct. 2 questions, I answered them correctly, but then it got shifted. I don't know why. So the why is this, that the answer gets shifted. So you have to lock it. So this is the aspect of tomorrow's exam. But if you still have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we go for pradhana and close the day early. Anyone has any other question? Okay. Now I request Padmaja Garu to do the pradhana, please.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यश्यालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सदना सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान्मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति
Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu swasti. Thank you, Padmaja Garu, for the pradhana. Now I request everyone to rise for the national anthem. Venkatnarayan Garu.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद.
Thank you, Venkatnarayan Garu. And before we end, again, I would like to repeat that pradhana is part of the course, and all of you should chant the pradhana while the prayer is going on. I see a lot of people, they are just sitting silent. Maybe they are doing pradhana within yourself. No, please don't do that. When you want to learn, you are supposed to say it out. And this is a pradhana which you say it out. There are some which you say within, manana. But these pradhana, you have to say it out. And that is one, because you are supposed to learn how to pronounce and then do the pradhana. And those of you who are already knowing how to do the pradhana, don't sit silent. I don't sit silent. I keep doing the pradhana every time. That gives you the energy within yourself. It peps up your energy. It should. And if you keep doing along with others, that is again a satsang pradhana, which has its own value. It has its own vibrations. Whether you are sitting across in different places or otherwise, or sitting at one place, it has its own use. So kindly please do the pradhana. As Colonel Babu Garu has already posted in the group, that all of you are supposed to submit your audios. Before that, I say that kindly do the pradhana for you. All this is meant for you only. It's not for Veda Samskruti Samiti or Vishwa Yoga Vidyapit. It is for you people. You do the pradhana and get into the realm of the Sanatan Dharma. This is doing the Dharma. Dharma is following what is being said and also to do what is right. And if we are trying to teach through this course and you don't want to listen, then that is not Dharma. So please follow it. I don't want to say more, but don't sit silent when the pradhana is happening. I want you all to switch on your videos during the pradhana, and I would like to see everyone do pradhana. That's for your own good. Thank you very much. And in case still 2 more minutes are there before I close, anyone wants to say something. And tomorrow, Padma Priya Garu will be doing the pradhana. Okay, madam? Padma Priya Garu? Are you there? Yeah, Padma Priya Garu, tomorrow.
Before, but I'm forgetting how exactly.
Tomorrow you are going to do the pradhana, Padma Priya Garu. It's okay?
Okay, Andy. Sure, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So I end this session today early. Get ready for the exam for tomorrow. Don't be in any tension. Stay cool. Learn well. Try to assimilate as much as possible. And then see retention in your memory as you write the exam. Wish you all the best. Have a nice day. Thank you.